I want to talk to you about the role of the facilitator, and in particular, the role of the facilitator in the work that we're doing with congregations that are in transition. Now, these activities of a skilled facilitator apply in any situation where you're called upon to make conversations go better. Facilitator means to make easy. When you are facilitating, when you are guiding a conversation, helping people talk and interact, you are seeking to make that conversation easier. I want to touch on some things that relate both to the work that we do in person, as well as the work that many of us are doing now virtually. These skills work and will help you increase your competency as you reflect on them and practice them in your facilitation work. So let's look at this wheel. I've put it, there's 10 factors, 10 skills of a facilitator that I want to touch on just briefly. First one is adaptability. When you are facilitating, when you're guiding a conversation, anything can happen. People can act in ways that you weren't expecting. Something can come up that makes total sense that you need to address. You need the skill and the ability to be flexible, to be able to change your mind about how you're processing, how you're going about it. Adaptability, it's crucial. They call it now the AI factor, the adaptability quotient, AQ, adaptability quotient. Facilitators are flexible, adaptable. They also have process skills. Now, this really has to do with they have the ability to think through a meeting, a conversation, an interaction from beginning to end, and how will we go through that? What will be the steps that we take? What will be the process? So that's the what of facilitation. And a facilitator understands the what, the how rather, not the what. It's the how will we have this conversation. Process skills. They are an excellent communicator. They're able to say what they mean what they say, use as few words as possible, not miss where people are coming from. Communication is really a two-way street, both being able to listen, which is the next skill, which is critical, but communication is the ability to listen and then ask the right questions and interact in a way that is engaging and compelling and invites people into the dialogue that you're having. Listening is another facilitator skill, the ability to truly hear what other people are saying, that level 2 and level 3 listening, where you're over where those people are, where that person is, and you're listening to what's going on in the environment, what the Holy Spirit is saying, and what is happening in that context. Critical skill that makes a facilitator a skilled one. Connector. It's important when you're facilitating to wear this particular hat or carry out this function of helping the people who are in that conversation connect with each other, whether it's online or whether it's in person. A very critical role that you as the facilitator must step into that sometimes. Sure, you invite others that have other gifts in connection and people skills, but you have to be able to connect people both with yourself and with those that they're interacting with and the ones that you hope they will interact with. Culturally aware, and this, culturally aware can apply to a lot of different things. Not only are there the cultural aspects such as race and background, but it also has to do with, the generational differences, the economic, cultural differences that we find in groups of people. You need to be aware of where people are coming from and help them be able to understand each other. But it starts with you being aware of what is going on in this group. What is the culture that is represented in this community, in this conversation? The beliefs, the values, the perspectives that are actually present in this particular room or in this, whether it's a virtual room or a real room. You want to be a great host. And this not only applies to in person, but this is especially true when you're doing online activities and facilitating meetings and conversations, is that if you are leading that meeting and you're facilitating it, you have a role of making people feel comfortable. thinking of questions that can be engaging and can invite people. You know, all the dead air that we experience on Zoom, for example. Your job is to think about how do you host that conversation in a way that makes people feel like they're sitting in your home, that they're relaxed and they really want to be there. Another facilitator skill is this chameleon skill. Now, this is not, it's not meant to be in the negative context of always kind of changing your mind based on the environment or what's going on around you, but it's more that ability to not be rigid when you maybe have a plan or have a direction that you're going. It's the ability to adapt to what's going on. It sort of goes well with adaptability, but it's really the ability to shift, maybe come up with a different angle or a different question or a different way to go about a particular conversation or a challenge that you may bump into. So it's that skill of sort of changing the way that you're showing up and doing that sort of on the fly as you go. The ninth role, the ninth skill of a facilitator is to be an integrator. Now, this is more related to the integration of the various bits and pieces of information that are shared in a conversation. Your role is to be able to keep track of where are these different ideas coming from, where they're going, how can we make sense of this? And sometimes it's summarizing ideas, but it's the ability to sort of make sense of a variety of aspects and things that you're hearing and that is being said and heard in the group. It's really, it comes down to really strongly developed observational skills to be able to see and make sense of what is actually happening. And the fourth skill, which is particularly important when you're doing virtual work, is technical skill. The ability to have a moderate competency to understand how to use technology to make the conversation easier. Definitely, you want to work with people that have potentially greater technical skill than you do. But I think it's important to have a basic understanding of how it works so that as you're being the quarterback of the conversation, you have an awareness of what's happening and how it needs to happen. And I think it's also true that there is a technical aspect to facilitation when you're in person, understanding how to use different tools, technology, whether it's PowerPoint or an easel or a whiteboard, to be able to use these different types of equipment in such a way that it makes the conversation easier. So here's a very simple question for you. The next time you are about to step into a meeting, a conversation, an opportunity where you are the facilitator, how might you utilize these 10 skills to make that conversation easier? Thanks for listening and have a great day.